Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Big Jiu-Jitsu Show, member of the Pod Bros Podcast Network. Don't forget to go to podbros.com, find a podcast that is definitely not as good as our podcast and listen to it. And don't forget to go to bigjujitsu.com, buy a shirt, buy a patch, and listen to some of the old articles. I'm Rob the Lord Humongous.
And I'm Shawn the Duke Humongous.
And we are using the ultimate in podcasting comfort right now. We are sitting on the couch with two microphones.
Yeah, a plush leather couch.
A plush leather couch. Man, it's Sunday. I'm feeling pretty lazy, actually.
Yeah, we have done pretty much nothing today.
No, that's untrue, actually. We played some Call of Duty, cleaned a little bit, did some laundry, and then we really did nothing afterwards. Now that I think about it.
The long search for the crossbow in Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
That is such bullshit. Well, it's a Black Ops 3, but seriously, whatever their like you said, the pay structure is, people pay money to get this crossbow, and it's such bullshit that you have to pay. Like, some people are paying hundreds of dollars just to get this crossbow, and they can't get it.
Yeah. The new model of gaming. Hey, we'll release a game, but not give you all the content, so you'll have to work on it and pay us more money.
Fuck that, dude. Like, I get if you're going to add additions. Like, back in the day, I remember the big thing was, like, with Doom, they added more maps, eventually, months after, way after. Or, like, X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, they added a whole bunch of new missions. But if you release a game with the anticipation of, we're going to have, like, a whole bunch of downloadable content, you're an asshole. That's pretty much what it boils down to. And I want to play my game in whole, but I don't know, man. It's kind of frustrating.
Yeah, so back to the jiu-jitsu topic.
Yeah, we are
because we love video games. So
we do love video games, and but it is a jiu-jitsu and MMA podcast. So I guess it's probably a good idea to kind of go back to that, talk about the things we love. So this week's been a rough one, man. A lot of fighting, a lot of training, and a lot of. Well, I'm hurting, man. I'm hurting pretty good. Well,
thankfully, mine went away pretty quick. I got a little back injury, and then wasn't able to even do shoulder rolls, and it went away pretty quickly. And you got your shin busted up pretty well.
Yeah, my shin's hurting pretty good still. I can walk around now at least, but it's still, I'm hobbling a good amount because it just hurts, man. Like I threw a left kick, like an inside leg kick, caught it wrong. And I'm hurting, man. Like, it's weird. Like, it's not the bone, it's the muscle. If you're standing and you look at your own shins, if you look at your left shin, it's not directly on the bone. It's on the outside of it. It's all the muscles. And I don't know. It didn't even feel like that hard of a kick, to be honest with you. And I don't know why it's hurting so bad.
Yeah, man. And I've been taping my ankle for 4 weeks now because I've been too stubborn to tap to straight ankle locks and toe holds. I just hate tapping to those now. And I think you get to the point as there's that part of progression in your jiu-jitsu game where you got to say, well, I got to stop tapping to this straight foot lock or some things immediately when they happen and learn how to defend them and just not tap as soon as it feels a little bit uncomfortable.
No, I agree with you on that because, for me, there are certain positions I will tap quickly in, not because it hurts, but because I know if I start trying to fight it, it's going to injure me. Because I know that, certain parts of my body are real stiff or whatever. But certain stuff, like chokes and stuff, I'll fight my way out of if I can. Because, like you said, it's good to start looking at those and start figuring out the best defense for it in order to get out of it, instead of just kind of accepting that you're going to lose from that position. But for me, it's chokes. Joint locks, I pretty much will tap quickly, too, because I like the use of my arms and legs. And, I'm taking it for granted, especially since I got, my leg kicked pretty hard. Or I don't know what I did exactly. But like I said, I'm having a hard time walking around. That's not fun to me.
Yeah, and with the chokes, man, I've been fighting out of a lot of chokes, but we had a visitor to the gym yesterday. His name was Rudy. I think he's out of a gym in New Mexico. And he put me in some chokes that were super tight, man. I was resisting as long as I could. And I was like, man, I'm going to have to tap here or I'm going to pass out. But, in general, I've been really, really outlasting the choke pressure. But he put some tight ones on me.
it's good to come back to the gym because there's a lot of tough guys in it, and like especially you and Rico and stuff. But it is kind of tuning me back up to where I need to be fighting these submissions. But like you said, you get some guys outside of the gym who have that pressure, who have that like really tight choke game, and you got to try your fight your way out of it. And sometimes it's just kind of a futile effort, but that's why it's cool to have people come into open mat and train.
Yeah, and it's good because we're used to each other's game. So there's a lot of stuff that you shut down on me, like every time we roll. That like when we went to that seminar, like a couple weeks ago, my passes work again, But the guys in your gym are so used to your game, they know how to shut the things that you do down, and that's why it's so awesome, to roll with different and new people.
No, it is. It really is, and that's why I like going to seminars because, on top of doing tournaments, like how long could a tournament last for you? 5 minutes total, maybe. Sometimes depends on how many fights you get. But at a seminar, how long do we roll? An hour? Like it wasn't you and me; it was us and other people.
Right.
So you got to try your stuff out on other people. So
I was actually kind of surprised how few people rolled after the seminar after Kurt was done with the instruction.
Man, well let's talk about it. Kurt's seminar was awesome.
Yeah.
Off. We haven't even gotten a chance to talk about it on the podcast yet.
Yo, and honestly, because we always watch each other when we roll. How many times have I hit that sweep?
Quite a few times.
Dude,
it was
I
awesome.
love that sweep,
That's
man.
a great sweep.
Yeah.
Maybe you guys should go to a Kurt Osiander seminar if you want to know what sweep we're talking about. However, like it did kind of bum me out that 4 hours, right? Great time, loved rolling, but it bummed me out how few people wanted to roll afterwards.
Yeah.
I just kind of sat down, like you had your guy rolling with, and I just kind of sat down. I was like, I want to do jiu-jitsu too. Who wants to come roll with me? But we got some good rolls in for sure afterwards.
Yeah, and that also shows you like how many people go to, because a ton of people train. If you're on web pages, and how many people are at the blue belt, purple belt level that actually compete, because you got a seminar of there. What do you think there was 50 or 60 people there?
Easily, yeah.
Yeah, and there was only less than 10 people that probably rolled afterwards, where you could have seen somebody else's game or their new game, and people are just afraid to get out of their comfort zones.
Yeah, maybe it was a part of being afraid of getting out of your comfort zone, or maybe it was a part of just kind of like being tired, or I don't know what the case is, but the fact that it was like, I've been always taught, unless you're like super injured or something, and somebody asks you to roll, you have to roll. That's the way it is. Like, so after I rolled with that one blue belt, I forget his name, real cool guy, does tattoos. He was at the party afterwards. After I was done with him, I mean, it was a tiring match. I finally got him, but then this white belt came up and said, hey, there aren't a lot of big guys. Can I roll with you? I said, absolutely. And, because I kind of feel that way too. Like, hey, I don't have a lot of opportunities to roll with really big guys. I mean, shoebox is kind of different because there are quite a few big guys there.
Yeah, man, we have a lot of big guys.
We do. For like a gym, we really do. So I kind of feel for the guy. And, I was like, yeah, absolutely. But I don't know. Just some people didn't want to roll, and it kind of bums me out. But, whatever, It's our jiu-jitsu journey, so we got to worry about what we're doing for the most part, right?
Right.
But, man, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was great.
Oh, man. And Tucson has to be hell on earth for the temperature it was
Pretty
at.
darn close. I don't that was, it was what, 110 or 112?
Easily, yeah. I remember getting in the car and I couldn't even touch the steering wheel. Just like, and that's even with windows cracked to try to off-put that, greenhouse effect or whatever you want to call it inside the vehicle. Couldn't even touch the steering wheel for a good while. Almost so you want to touch like the air conditioning knobs. It was so hot. That's hot enough to make a man angry. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm glad the monsoon is coming here in Arizona and cooled down a little bit.
Man, I did miss Arizona weather. That's for sure. Not maybe so much how hot it is, but mainly because the monsoon. I think the monsoon season out here is pretty cool. But so Metamoris is coming up here. So apparently we have Gary Tonin versus Halleck Gracie, the owner of Metamoris, and Halleck and Gary Tonin have been talking some shit back and forth. Gary Tonin has gone so far to say that if Halleck submits him, that he will get G and a gi tattooed on his ass. Yeah, that's kind of extreme in my opinion.
Well, if you remember the Paul Harris match that he did for the Polaris event not too long ago, this was in the last couple months. Yeah, he was nowhere near getting submitted by Polaris, who is known as a pretty good submission guy.
Yeah, he's a real tough dude, and I honestly think Gary's gonna kind of just maybe even walk through this match. And the thing I want to do, like, I want to see him not just win. Well, I mean, because it's Metamoris, so if he doesn't win, it's a draw. And according to like Halleck and Henner, if he doesn't get submitted, then it's a win for Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. I want to see Gary Tonin like submit him quickly.
Yeah,
That's what I want to see.
and I think that's part of the problem of the appeal of this Metamoris, and we've talked about this on the show before, but it's so freaking boring because they advertise it as like a submission only, but really it's two guys in there and much higher level of jiu-jitsu than me personally. I can't say that, but like I feel it's boring to watch, man. Half those matches are boring. So it's like two guys, they're fighting just not to get submitted. You can see that in the gym. I can watch, two black belts at our gym have a good roll, and it's to me about the same as watching, some guys that are known in the jiu-jitsu community doing a Metamoris event.
No, I can agree with that. And that's why I kind of say, like, white belts and blue belts seem to be the most entertaining matches you can see in jiu-jitsu because they're not going just to win. They're going for, like, submissions. They're trying to end the fight. Like, if you tell me I have 20 minutes to finish my opponent, I'm going to try to finish my opponent in, like, a minute. One, because I'm lazy. And two, because why not? Isn't that what we're supposed to be doing? Like, trying to end the fight as soon as you can without expending all this energy. Like, the whole minimum effort, maximum efficiency type way of thought in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Like, that's the way it should be. However, we got two people who are very high level. So you start fighting in these, not bad situations, but almost stalemate situations, but they're trying not to get submitted. So these types of matches, the submissions are rare, but the the draws are very common, which is why I like EBI, because it really pretty much there is a clear-cut winner at the end of the match. You can't just have an entire card of draws. But something I feel like Metamoris does really well, and I wish some of the other promotions out there would kind of get behind, is they do a really good job setting up the stories, doing the videos. Like those are amazing videos that they do before each event.
Have you seen a new one then? Do they have some for this event or not?
I haven't seen any yet. I need to start. I probably should pull some up. Like, that'd probably be a good idea. But based on the stuff they did before, it's kind of what drew me into some of the people. Like, Kit Dale had a basic idea of who he was, but after the Metamoris, where it kind of showed him doing his everyday thing, talking about how he got into jiu-jitsu and the game plan and all that other stuff, made me a fan. And then Keenan, I was not a fan of Keenan Cornelius until he did that. Until I saw that video of him.
Where he threw the bronze medal in the beach?
Yeah, and it came back. The fact that he's like going around with a metal detector on the beach, like, it showed he had a sense of humor. I was like, okay, I like this guy. Throws the metal detector over the woman's ass, and then it goes off, and he gives the look of like, what the fuck, and just keeps walking. I was like, I'm a Keenan fan for sure. Absolutely. I'll always be a Keenan fan now because that guy enjoys what he does. So the production value is really good. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking with this last one where they kind of just had it in a warehouse without any audience whatsoever.
Right.
But was that the last one, or is that no? There was one. The one before that. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking, man. If it's a legitimate professional Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu type event, then there really should be some sort of audience in there, not like 20 people that they just handpicked to watch this shit. It just doesn't work out that way. And especially since they need to make money, and the whole, Halleck has been paying people, like he's kind of doing events and then paying the people for the previous events. It doesn't work out that way. It isn't going to work out for a long-term investment for these guys. So I think they kind of need to, if they could just readjust and reprioritize what they're doing, I think they could probably pick it back up, honestly.
Yeah, so the other thing that has been popping up on my news feed or whatever this week is that Conor McGregor is coming back against Diaz, and dude, it just seems to me like more money grabbing for the UFC. And another thing, why hasn't Conor McGregor defended his belt in his weight class against the competitors there? It just seems all ridiculous to me. Like it's only about money because personally, I really don't even care to see a rematch because I think Diaz is gonna and I don't pay for these events anyways to watch. At my house, I catch them, 5 minutes after the fight's over, and somebody posts it on Facebook or whatever.
Yeah, I mean Diaz, without question, won that. Well, I mean he submitted him. Obviously, he won that fight, but there's no question in my mind, even in a rematch, that Nate Diaz is going to beat Conor McGregor again. And what kind of kills me is the fact that, like you said, he hasn't defended his title since he beat Jose Aldo. And now we have Jose Aldo fighting Frankie Edgar next weekend for the title. Well, not for the title. I don't know if it's for the title or not, but it's, it's pretty much like either for the title, the interim title, or whoever's going to fight Conor McGregor next for the title. And I feel bad because Frankie Edgar has been busting his ass to get back to that position. And they've just been kind of stringing him along because Conor McGregor wants to fuck off in other weight divisions. And here's Frankie Edgar working his ass off, and he can't do it because Conor McGregor wants to fuck off in other weight classes. And that's what's causing him, to kind of just sit there. And hopefully Dana and them finally tell him, either you defend the belt or you're done.
Yeah, and so either way, so let's say he loses to Diaz again.
Yeah.
They get to still use him, and whatever popularity he's garnered in his own weight division after he, I'm not going to assume that he loses, but no matter what the result, they still have their cash cow for 1 to 2 more fights if he just loses out.
I don't know if he's going to be so much a cash cow anymore because, I mean, if you look at some of the other fighters that were Dana's, prized possessions, like Ronda Rousey, Paige Van Zant, Sage Northcutt, a lot of those people, they lost. When's the last time you heard of them, right?
I haven't heard of Sage Northcutt in a while.
Yeah, because...
Or Ronda.
Yeah, Ronda's not fighting. She's kind of just hiding out doing her thing. Sage Northcutt, after that submission loss, and nobody really gives a shit. Paige Van Zant's been doing Dancing with the Stars. And then now we got Conor McGregor who just lost to Nate Diaz, so he's not the mystical fighter that everybody undefeated. Well, I mean, he was defeated, but at the same time, it was he was on this tear of just beating people. And what a lot of people don't realize is Conor McGregor talented? Yes, he's very talented. However, his path to get to Jose Aldo was kind of questionable, in my opinion. How did Dennis Seaver magically become a top 10 fighter right before the Conor McGregor fight, and then was taken off the top 10 list right after?
Right.
Which gave him the whole, I beat a top 10 fighter. Let me fight Jose Aldo, right? Fights Jose Aldo. Was it luck or whatever? Maybe, you can call it whatever it is. He beat him. He did beat Jose Aldo. So now he's the champ. But takes a fight with Nate Diaz, loses by submission. What happens next? Frankie Edgar, like I said, sitting there doing nothing because he wants to fight Conor McGregor. Oh, you go back to Chad Mendes. I completely forgot about Chad Mendes. Chad Mendes took this fight on 10 days' notice about. Not even I'm in camp training 10 days. I'm out hunting, doing whatever I want 10 days' notice. He hasn't really hit a hard camp. And even then, Chad Mendes was having no issues taking Conor down in the first round. And it just came to be a cardio issue because he hadn't been training.
Right.
That's my opinion. So I'm kind of interested to see what Frankie Edgar or Jose Aldo, a different Jose Aldo would do to Conor McGregor now.
Yeah, and then the other thing that kind of irritated me is the Brock Lesnar return, and they gave him maybe I'm wrong on this, but it seemed like they gave him an exception on testing for performance enhancing drugs or something of that sort. Because I posted something on social media and somebody said that other people have been given exceptions in this case, but yeah, I didn't really understand it, but it just sounded suspect.
Well, to me,
Or I don't know if it's a media thing to.
he was initially, I think, but I think that the commission is starting to test him now. Like he's been tested 4 times in the past 5 days or something
Okay.
crazy like that. But yeah, like Brock Lesnar, if everybody else is going through this very stringent testing, like Demetrius Johnson, I think it is. He streams video games on internet or whatever, and his stream got interrupted by the commission coming to his house to test him for drugs. So if they're doing shit like that, why isn't Brock Lesnar being tested for it? You know what I mean? So I think they kind of just broke down like, all right, fine, we're going to test you and see what happens. And so far, nothing bad has happened about it with it. But man, it's kind of in a sport now that's taking the performance enhancing drug testing very seriously. Because these are people's lives on the line. I mean, it's a little different than, like you said, biking or whatever. But,
Or NFL, because I guarantee you, like the NFL,
yeah.
like if they, did the same policies as they're doing in UFC, I mean, half the team would not be playing.
Exactly, yeah. And, the other thing, too, is these people are trained to punch other people in the face or kick them in the face, right? And whatever performance-enhancing drugs they take, it's going to fuck them up even more. Or it could be, something that ruins their career completely. But, I think everybody, regardless, there should not be an exception to it. It's either you're doing performance-enhancing drugs or you're not. There's no, it's short notice, so we can't really give you the whole, rundown of all the testing and whatnot. I mean, granted, there have been exceptions to the testing, like Vitor Belfort got an exception for testosterone replacement therapy to fight, but if you saw Vitor fight, you're right, there's no way that's just straight up, where his testosterone level is naturally.
Mm-hmm.
He's been doing a little more testosterone replacement therapy than others. I mean, even looking at Anderson Silva, like you're talking about somebody who said, I needed it to recover. People can make excuses all day long about hey, he needed it to recover because he had such a terrible injury, but at the end of the day, he's still doing performance-enhancing drugs, and that's going to affect the way he fights and the way that the damage he does is going to affect other people.
Mm-hmm. Or his opponent.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's you got to keep other people's safety in mind. And unfortunately, too, if you look at some of, the professional wrestlers, I know you and I watched, what was it, the return of Jake the Snake, or what was it? Yeah. Stone Cold Steve Austin said a lot in this sport, a lot of people don't survive until old age. I mean, look at Randy Savage. Look at some of these other wrestlers like the British Bulldog.
Chris Benoit, did he?
He killed himself, but they attributed a lot to brain damage, or brain trauma from wrestling, and then steroid use. I don't know what percentage of what would be, but it's a sport where if people are doing performance enhancing drugs, it is going to knock years off your life. That's the way it is. And with the Macho Man, he was driving a car and that was it. He was driving a car. He was in his 40s, I think.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Late 40s.
Late 40s, almost 50, and that's how you go out. So I think it's not only just like a safety issue for people that are fighting, but for a safety issue for the people who are doing it. Mm-hmm. That's just my whole opinion on it. But you're a man who likes lifting, so you understand how important it is to take care of yourself and make sure you're safe while you're
and
exercising.
For recreational, because I consider myself just a recreational jiu-jitsu player. I'm not. What is it? A 3%er or 5%?
Yeah, it's a 3%er if we're just hobbyists.
Okay. So, I mean, I do what I can at 38 years old as far as weight training, but my weight training has completely changed. So I can handle training jiu-jitsu 4 days a week and lifting or being in the gym 5 days a week. So it's not the intensity or powerlifting that I used to be into, because my body can't handle both.
No,
I would
absolutely
need
not.
to be on HGH or steroids or something else to be able to sustain both.
Yeah, and that's something I'm like trying to learn as well because I'm 32 years old right now, and it's not like I'm 22 years old when I was first started doing all the crazy stuff and not like drugs. I mean just training in general, and I do not bounce back the way I used to at all. And I am like there are days I just lay there. I'm like, this is stupid. What are you doing? Like legitimately, like I hurt. So I have to be real smart about my training. Otherwise, I will get injured. And the thing is, I have to be careful because this fight's in October, right? Beginning of October. I'm close enough now that if I get injured and it puts me out for 6 to 8 weeks, I will not have enough time to train or recover to fight.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the worst part of it. So it's being smart and kind of listening to my body, but still trying to put in the maximum amount of effort when I'm able to get on the mats. And it sucks, but at the end of the day, like that's how it's going to be.
And that's all anybody can do.
It really is. And I mean, if you're injured, like something legitimately hurts and you try to push past it, you're like, oh, it'll get better. I'll just ignore the pain and keep moving. Dude, you're going to get fucked up, and that's definitely going to affect your performance and when it counts. And you're not doing anybody any favors, and now you're worse off than you would have been if you just took like maybe a day or two to get back to it. So that's just my opinion on the training aspect as well. But man, it sucks getting older, dude. I can't deal with this. My mind still thinks I'm like 20 something though.
No, I saw somebody else, post, that they weren't going to train or something like that, and they saw one of their 50-year-old students on the mat and said, you know what, if he's out here, I got to be out here, and be training. So there's that too. I mean, and I'm always motivated. Like, things that motivate me are kind of weird. But if there's like a newcomer that's really excited about jiu-jitsu and that's always asking me questions or technique questions, like that motivates me more than anything to stay there and to show up for class. And I'll be like, oh, maybe this new person will be there because they, ask me questions. And I love that, man. Like that's my motivation when I'm not feeling the best. Is like those new people that might be counting on me, or they're like, are you gonna be on class Wednesday? Because I got this question for you, and I'm like, yeah, man, I'll help you after or before class. Or
no, it is cool taking that teaching role. Like get a little bit more involved in that teaching role. It does help you out, especially getting to the gym. Like you said, if somebody holds you kind of accountable for coming to class, then it does make a big difference. Like when I was living out here, say, hey, you going to class tonight? Or yeah, or you'd ask me, hey, you going to class tonight? It's like, well, my buddy's going to be there, so I need to be there. Or people who want to learn, or like you said, have questions. I need to be there in order to help them with their questions. So,
yeah.
Like,
and then and then I felt really good that we had like our first like move of the week thing.
Oh yeah.
And somebody that didn't even throw a like on it or something asked me about it in class, and they're like, hey, can you show me a little detail of this? And I was like, heck yeah, man.
Yeah, that was pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, I felt like I was like, yeah, dude. So
yeah, and for those of you who aren't, really ingrained in our social media, we are starting to do, not really, it's not so much like a straight up tutorial of move of the week. It's more just showing what we like. And, Shawn did a really good choke from side control, and it's very effective. Trust me. I've been on the receiving end of it many, many times, and it works very well. And it's just stuff we like to talk about. It's for you guys, and we want to share what we enjoy. I mean, that's kind of the purpose of this, is just kind of to talk about what we like and what we enjoy. And, the YouTube channel is definitely a part of it. So,
yeah, and I'm a blue belt, man, but I just like to share stuff that works for me at blue belts. So no matter what belt you are, I mean, Rob, you're a purple belt, but like these are just things that we find effective. So
yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's stuff that's worked for us forever. Like I said, I did the inverted arm bar. I posted up. What was it, yesterday? I mean, that's a move I've been using since.
Yeah. You used to catch me in that every day. my elbow still hurts from like 2 years ago.
It's one of my favorite, and like I said, it's effective and it works, and that's the type of shit that we want to show you is the stuff that works for us. And if it doesn't work for you, I'm sorry. Like, that's not a hit on you. It's just it doesn't work for you, and that's okay. But hopefully, you'll see something that you like and something you enjoy, and because we're fun guys. We like doing jujitsu, right?
Yeah. And then yesterday I was showing like an armbar finish to that visitor dude. I mean, we were just exchanging some of the techniques that we liked.
Yeah.
And then he tried it on me right when we were rolling. I was like, dude, you're going to try my own move on me, man?
Oh, yeah, Rudy, you talking about? I heard you say that. Oh, man. Like, no, but that's kind of the cool part about it is if you start showing people moves and then they start doing the moves, it kind of gives you that, like the proud papa type.
Yeah, and really, I mean, that's something that I found at Blue Belt now, that trying the stuff that you've seen. Like, I'm not that great at, there was like a trap elbow lock that we did from side control.
Yeah.
And I'm taking risks on trying stuff. And it doesn't, like I got maybe a 20% success rate on the new stuff, but I'm starting the new stuff. And it's getting my kit bag bigger, So, like, for those of you that aren't expanding your game, like, if you go to class 3 days a week, there's probably, at least 3 to 5 techniques that you learn a week. And if you're not trying those and testing those, like, I think that has been a big part of my growth, just risking testing it. And if you get put in a bad position, you're working on defense, but that's fine because you at least tried, and the next time you try, you get a detail a little bit more right.
I was going to say the majority of me rolling is pretty much trying new shit and being terrible at it. That's just the way it is. I mean, granted, there are people I will pull the A game out on, but the majority of the time it's sit on my butt, try to work on my guard. I mean, and it's just the way it is. That's how you get better at jiu-jitsu. You can't play A game the entire time. You're not going to learn anything.
Yeah, and then I regretted it. On Monday, I tried this transition on one of the guys that's still like 260 or 270.
Oh, God damn.
And he got on top of me, and I was stuck under there for a while. And I was like, oh, man, why did I try that?
When you fuck it up and then just all the weight falls on you and you're like, oh, that was a fucking terrible idea. Yeah, I've been there quite a few times myself. But, hey, that's the best part of jiu-jitsu, right? I keep talking about the best part of jiu-jitsu. I think the best part of jiu-jitsu is when class is over sometimes.
Making it to the end of class.
Oh, making it.
And that's truly like I had one of the newer guys say, like, his favorite part was like bowing out and being like, I made it through another class, like, because we have 2-hour classes.
Yeah.
And he was like that was his impression of his favorite part of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, there's nothing. If it was easy, I get it, right? Some people do some real wacky martial arts, like. I was just watching some Sistema videos earlier today. Like if you're not familiar with it, it's a Russian form of martial arts, quote unquote martial arts, and it's kind of like the chi fighting, but not. So pretty much they say they have to do it slow motion, or else they might kill their opponent or kill their partner or something crazy like that. But the majority of it is like the guy giving sideways looks to people and they fall over. It's the same shit. So unless you're doing something like that, it's a hard martial art. And getting through a 2-hour class, I mean, that's something not a lot of people can do, like even, right off the bat. Like really athletic people. You come to a jiu-jitsu class and do that for 2 hours, dude, it's going to suck. It's going to suck a lot, in fact. Indeed. So before we head out, Shawn, you got anything you want to say to the listeners before we finish up this episode?
This was a very comfortable episode for me here on the couch, so I enjoyed our venue today.
Man, this couch, you have a really nice couch, I'm just going to say. It's very nice, and it's comfortable, and spent a lot of time on it. Oh, so good. But so, ladies and gentlemen, before we head out, don't forget we are a member of the Pod Bros Podcast Network. Don't forget to go to podbros.com and listen to a podcast that is not as cool as us. And don't forget to go to bigjujitsu.com. You can find all of our shirts, patches, and other stuff on bigjujitsu.com. And don't forget, hey, we're doing that Show Your Roll giveaway. We're at 19, I think it is. It's 19 or 20 positive reviews, 5-star reviews. If you give us a 5-star review, you're in the running. So when we hit 25 5-star reviews, one of the names from those 5-star reviews is going to get a show you roll. And there's no set type. It's just because I want to make sure you get the size you want. That's just the way it is. And unfortunately, you can't really be a beggar on what kind you want. So any of these Guma Worlds releases, you might be out of luck. So I'm real sorry. But once again, I'm Rob the Lord Humongous.
I'm Shawn the Duke Humongous.
And we'll catch you all next time.